Hello, Black women. I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. What if the reason that you keep tweaking your plan is it feels safer than actually doing it? Okay. Um, are you stuck performing like you're building something when deep down you are actually afraid to begin? Maybe you've been told that when something is easy, you're not trying hard enough. I know I was told that. Okay. Maybe you've been taught that it has to be perfect before you can move on. Maybe you are hiding behind the work of planning something so you don't have to feel the fear of what comes after that. I can describe this pattern because I lived this pattern. Okay. I am unlearning it. I am a recovering replanner person. Yeah. Um, I kept searching for the right way to do everything. And I would be scanning what other people were doing and always like replanning and restarting and replanning and restarting. When what I really needed and what I've learned is I needed to trust myself and act. Okay. So in this video, I am naming what's already happening and what's happening with so many Black women, the exhausting cycle of starting over and replanning and tweaking and starting over instead of acting and building from where you are. Let's talk about why this happens and let's talk about what we can do about it. Yay! Hello, beautiful Black women. It is Rashni. Welcome back to Find Your Light Live. Yes, on a Wednesday, not on a Friday. Girl, what are you doing? I don't know. I just felt like talking about this. And I mean, I'm here. So if you're here, we're here together. Okay. This is a healing space for Black and West Indian women. Hello, my name is Rashni. I am a content creator. I am a special needs mother, and I am a certified life coach. Okay. I am also a Black woman healing. That's why I can have these conversations with you. I create humor-filled healing spaces like this one where other Black women can heal too and create lives that they love and not just tolerate, which is why this conversation is really important to me. If that's you, you are in the right place. Okay. I am live on Facebook. Hit that like button. Thank you. I am live on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you. And I am live on LinkedIn. And if you're on LinkedIn, I think you can follow me on LinkedIn. So hit the follow button and say hello in the chat. Hi, Natasha. Natasha says she is glad to catch me live. Yeah, I'm sneaking in on a day that I usually don't talk, but you know what? It was on my mind, so I wanted to talk about it. So I believe I titled this video, Stop Restarting, Follow Through on What You Already Know. You don't need another plan, Black woman. Okay. And this video is inspired by coaching clients, but also really inspired by me. Part of being a certified life coach for Black and West Indian women is seeing myself in the clients that I work with and seeing where I was and where I still may be healing and unlearning. And I just thought that this was such a nuanced topic that a lot of us encounter and that I could help. So I could help somebody as I travel on. Amen. Then my living. Finish it with me. Okay. So let's talk about some of the reasons that you might keep starting over, reasons that you might keep redoing your plan. And while I am saying these reasons, which I just brain dumped into a notepad, okay, I want you to answer this question for me in the chat. Have you ever bought a book, a course, a template, joined a membership, had a strategy, wrote out a plan and a partridge in a pear tree, and then done nothing with it? Be honest, you guys. I want to hear your answer. Hey, this one woman. Yeah, girl, I'm here on a Wednesday. Okay, I'm here on a Wednesday. Hi, Kimberly. Nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. All right, you guys. So let's get into it. I want to warn you, Black women, especially high functioning, visionary, overperforming, perfectionist Black women. I'm gonna hold your hand for these. These gonna feel a little rough. But the reason why I like to name things is because awareness is the first step of healing. Okay. Awareness is the first step of healing. So, reasons why you might keep starting over. I just told you one of them. You are a high functioning overperformer, visionary, socialized to perform perfection and strength. And I say perform with great intention. Okay. Perform it, not be perfect, because nothing is perfect. Not always be strong, because nobody is 100% strong at all times. Right. So you are socialized to perform it and to appear that way. And that could be one of the reasons why you keep starting over. This one woman said, oh, yes, I sure have. Stuck in the planning, too afraid to start and fail. Well, we're going to talk about that today. Thank you for being honest. Natasha says, I have and have seen it crumble before my eyes. Girl, me too. Girl, me too. You is me and me is you. Besides the fact that we also have the same name. Remember, I told you Natasha's my name. Okay. Um, I think all Black women socialized in our Western constructs have felt this because, and that's why I want to talk about it. I don't hear it often enough. So that's why I want to talk about another reason that you might keep replanning, restarting, redoing, restarting is you aren't actually under equipped. You have more than you need. You have more. Most Black women have what they need. A lot, not always, but we are equipped, almost over equipped. But that means that because you're so equipped, you are now buried under too much input without enough direction. You have too much input without enough direction. Okay. You have overwhelm without clarity. You have overwhelm without clarity. Hi, Blue Isis. Thank you for my pineapple. Hi, Kicking It with Kim, redefining hustle. I need to enter recovery. Thank you for this discussion. I think a lot of us need to enter recovery on this. That's why I'm bringing it up. Okay. I'm boiling it to the surface. Another reason why you might keep restarting things is you keep collecting strategies as a way to brace yourself, as a way to look and appear ready for other people. But deep down, you are avoiding the discomfort of doing. So you are distracting yourself and disguising it as preparation. Distracting yourself and disguising it as preparation. Okay. I know I was. That's why I could write this list. Another reason why you might keep starting over is you feel like constantly adjusting your plan feels safer to you than actually taking action on the plan, because action takes risk, right? Action takes risk. So you're actually tweaking your plan constantly as a form of self-protection. Okay. Celeste, I am here on a Wednesday because I felt like it. How are you going to come on my video and you should come live with me right now. Don't play. I'm here on a way going up on a Tuesday. Let me take a sip. I don't have my usual cup, you guys. I should have had a straw in this. But honestly, Celeste, I just felt like chatting. I had this conversation in my brain recently, and then I felt like it came up in another place, and I was like, that's confirmation. Let's go for it. Okay, that's confirmation. Why am I in your window? Who's that peeking in my window? Pow, glamazini now. Nobody, not sorry. Focus. See, y'all a distraction. Okay. Another reason why you might be restarting. I should tell you guys this story just so you know that this is my lived experience. I had a therapist who had worked with me for years. Okay. That poor white man was exhausted by me. He's not my therapist right now. And he was very flat faced. He had a very non-reactive face and demeanor for reasons, because that works in a therapy setting, right? People can be triggered by all kinds of stuff. But every once in a while, he would have an affect change and I would notice it. And this was one of them. We were doing a virtual session one time, and I guess he was just sick of me. He was sick of me. And he broke affect and was like, you keep stopping. You keep stopping. He seemed so frustrated. So I am not new to this conversation. I am true to this. Okay. I am a recovering restarter and replanner to the point that my therapist, who had a poker face, broke poker face and kind of like was like, oh my God. And I was like, relax, sir. You're supposed to be therapizing me. What the heck? Okay. Another reason why you might be restarting, keep starting over, replanning, rethinking, coming again, trying something different is if you don't finish, you ready for this? Then you can't fail, right? So you stay safe by always staying in the safety of trying because you have a really severe fear of failure. By the way, I want to say that a lot of these things are socially acceptable and that's why you're doing them too, right? It's not socially acceptable for you to be like, I have a fear of failure. So instead, you just don't finish. And that's a socially acceptable thing, right? But socially acceptable does not lead you always to the life that you desire, the life that you want. Okay. So my whole point in having these conversations with you all and working with Black and West Indian women is to create lives that we love, not that we tolerate, not that are performative and look good in the eyes of other people, but that feel good and that are good in our lived and embodied experience. Okay. And I don't think many of us start out knowing the difference. There's a difference, right? So another reason beyond you being afraid to fail, you guessed it, is you are afraid that what if you get what you actually wanted? What now? I said this on, I believe, last week's video about being silenced and finding your voice. You could be afraid of getting the thing because you think you don't know what to do with it when you get it. Or what if you actually have an aspiration, dream the impossible dream, get the thing that you've been dreaming about and you don't like it or it don't work. Okay. And you feel like you don't know what to do with that, which is fear of success. Okay. And this is why, if you can see, I mean, you might be able to go here before I go here. You can see why self-trust is the answer to most of these things. Okay. But let's get there. Another reason why you might be restarting is this was me, you have been raised in the construct of Black excellence. And in that construct, you are praised for excellence. So anything that you deem as not excellent or imperfect feels like a failure to you. And you think you have to start over because it's not praiseworthy. It's not actionable. It's not doable unless it's perfect and excellent. Yeah. Which is perfectionism, right? Which is perfectionism. Yeah. Another reason why you might be starting over and starting over and starting over is you second guess your decisions. So starting over can feel more familiar to you than sticking to something because you're not used to sticking to it. And this is me to a T. Okay. This is the core of low self-trust. This is the core of low self-trust. It feels more familiar in your body to second guess yourself. You possibly were second guessed in some environments that were formative to you. Okay. And so instead of going for what you know, you start over because you don't trust yourself because you were trained to not trust yourself. That was me right here. She right here. Okay. It was me. Everybody had a say in what I was and wasn't doing wrong. And I was surrounded by extremely critical people. And so even when I stepped out to do the thing, I either had real or perceived critiques constantly. And if excellent was the goal, then it was a goal I would never meet. But I was always stuck in the land of striving. Yeah. I remember my therapist, the same white man. He is so sick of me. That poor white man. Years ago, when he first started talking to me, he told me I was a perfectionist. And I was like, no, I'm not. And the way that man had to walk me through the concept of perfectionism until looking back at it now, if the word perfectionism is in the dictionary, there was probably a photograph of me right next to it. Rushni, come on, Rushni in the past. It was right there, and I did not know. I was the poster child for being raised in Black excellence. And if it's not perfect, it's not worthy. Start over, scratch it, and do it again. Okay? Scratch it and do it one more time. All right? SM says not used to sitting in it and going through the thing to get past it. Girl, were you just talking to me in my therapy session? I talked about this very thing in my therapy session earlier, which is ironic because I scheduled this live before my therapy session. So clearly it was on my mind. Not used to sitting in the discomfort is what I told my therapist. And in all of these conversations that we're having on the internet out here in the streets about all of these hierarchical and harmful systems where the people in the privileged position either won't or can't understand how harm of the group means harm for the underprivileged class. Does that make sense? So harm from white people, Black people are getting harmed, men, but like all of these conversations happening. A lot of the solutions go to you sitting in discomfort. And if we want other people to sit in their discomfort, to dismantle harmful things in a collective, in a corporate way, right? We have to be willing to practice individually sitting in discomfort to dismantle harmful things in our individual lives. That's what I told my therapist today. I was like, ooh, girl, I'm going through it, but I'm going through. Hey, sorry. I praise right off of this video. I will not. I won't do it. Hi, Judy. I shut this video right down. But we're going through anyway. Another reason why you might be, where am I? Another reason why I'm looking at my notes because I made a brain dump. Another reason why you might be restarting, replanning, tweaking is deep down you don't believe that you are qualified to keep this going. So you keep starting over so you feel worthy. Right? You just keep you keep hitting the start button again. You keep hitting the start button. You can't go beyond step 2. Step 2 is scary. Step 3 is scary. Step 3 is unfamiliar. You don't think you're qualified for it's imposter syndrome, really. You don't think you're qualified for step 3, 4, much less 5. Right? Much less 5. Your body, another reason is your body, this is what I was just saying, your body equates following through with stress, pressure, or rejection. So there's a physiology to your restarting. My How to Heal framework is the main framework in my coaching membership. It is my reimagined framework. The reason why I did that is because I wanted to restructure the path that I led Black women on in a basic understanding of how to heal, how to return to themselves, which is what I believe healing is. And in doing so, how to use that healing to create a life that you actually want to live, not that you're tolerating, not that you're performing, right? Right. And the reason I started the How to Heal framework with understanding your nervous system is there's so much information in the human body that we are not taught to use. And when I began leveraging that information years ago, that was the key that unlocked so many things for me. And I started to learn, and I'm still learning about how we can be addicted to chemical responses in our bodies that mirror trauma events from our past. You can literally have a biochemical addiction to a feeling or a chemical that's released in a stress response. So even though you consciously are saying you want a thing, you keep seeking out, craving, and creating environments where the stress response is happening. And your nervous system is running the show. And unless you don't know that, then you can start beating yourself up all the time and restarting and redoing. And suffering in silence because you're like, what's going on with me? I say I want A, but I keep doing B. I know I can do A. Why am I doing B? Okay. Another reason why you keep restarting is you believe that you are only as valuable as your last accomplishment. Let me look in the camera when I say that one. Someone taught you that your value is in what you do. I wonder who that was. It's the systems. It's capitalism. Okay. You consciously or subconsciously believe that you are valuable based off of what you accomplish, what you do, right? What you do. So you keep jumping accomplishment to accomplishment, and the doing, the slow, boring work in the middle, which is the action after the excitement of starting, feels like your value has dropped. And so you kick back up that feeling of like, I started, it's new, I'm doing, right? And that gives you a little bit more oomph to go on with the feeling of being a doing person. I was watching Deontay Kyle. He is a podcaster that went viral on TikTok. And he did a podcast last week where he was talking about men being held accountable for harm, group harm, right? I talked about it on my I've Created a Monster podcast on YouTube. So if you're interested, go to @MonsterCreated on YouTube. It was the last episode, I think episode 16. And I watched him respond to the backlash from all the red pill men telling him that he was pandering, yada, yada, yada. And I thought it was so nuanced in his response. This was on TikTok. His episode, next episode, which I think is 68. I don't know. I don't watch the man's podcast. I'm just seeing the clips. But the nuance that this man brought in about the Black experience in general. He was talking about men, but this applies to us too, because he was talking about the Black experience. The Black experience, we're us being programmed to always feel like we have to be doing. And also he was talking about always feel like you have to be performing or you're going to get in trouble if you're not doing. And so we don't know, our nervous system is so cranked up to a place that feels normal, that when it gets slow, methodical, boring, and repetitive, which is what actually taking action feels like, I can attest, we don't recognize the ease and peace and monotony because our systems are wired that we're going to get in trouble and we have to produce something. Think about the epigenetics of that. If back in the day, one of your ancestors was harmed physically for not producing in a capitalist system, think about that. When you sit down and you chillin', everything in your psyche and your body and your everything is like, I should be doing something. I got to be doing something. Like your ancestors' literal value. That kind of pisses me off. There's a person in your bloodline whose literal value, I'm talking about monetary value, they were the capital in capitalism, was based on what they could do, like livestock. And so once you start realizing that your body equates that thing, that feeling, and it puts you in overdrive, then you can start dismantling it. But if you don't recognize that, then you start turning on self, trying to hide from people, and performing strength and performing value, performing it because you want to feel safe and you don't want anybody to think that you're all the things, lazy and da 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 da. Okay. And that could be why you're restarting, boo boo. I'm just trying to let you know because I'm right over here with you. I'm over here with you, unlearning and recovering, learning how to recognize peace and understand that I am worthy of it right now. That I am worthy of peace and I am worthy of ease. And if something feels boring to me, I need to think about whether or not that boring feeling is actually just a down regulation of my nervous system that I'm unfamiliar with. And I'm also unfamiliar with the monotony of getting things done. The monotony of it. I'm going to tell y'all right now, as a person who is doing more right now in creating a life that I love, it can get real repetitive and boring sometimes. And if you're running from the boring, oh, Judy in here with Judy said, and then the word patriarchy, our culture took on Christianity. Idle hands are the devil's playground. And you can imagine in the hands of a chattel slave, a society built on chattel slavery, alley-ooped up into capitalism, how that scripture could be used to harm us. To harm us. Blue Isis says, I am worthy of peace and ease. I think I might use it as an affirmation. I want to believe this right now. I keep reading y'all my business. I think one of the videos I told you that I have affirmations that I used to say aloud every morning, but now I have them in an app and it reads aloud to me every morning. And they are personalized affirmations that I write. And it's long, okay? But I listen to it every morning while I'm doing my stretches. And I'm gonna pull up and I tweak it. I tweak it, okay? When I need to hear something different, I rewrite it. And I'm gonna find the part about peace for you, Lysa, so you could hear it. Let me see if I could find it. Because it's long. It's long. Let me see. Do 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 do. Oh, I might be. I'm trying to. Do 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 do. Sorry, there's all these sections, so I have to like scroll through it. Oh, I think I went past it. Okay, give me a second, you guys. I really do want to see if I could find this. Oh, here we go. I think I've read this to you guys before, but listen, we're here now. Okay, you ready? It's kind of long, but I'm going to read it. I released the need to manage energy that didn't belong to me. I stopped equating emotional labor with love. I honored others' paths without making them my assignment. I let go of what was never mine to heal. I stopped anchoring myself in dysfunction and instead became my own lighthouse. Each disengagement from misalignment brought me deeper into my divine purpose. I trusted my inner knowing to recognize peace, and I protected it with conviction. I reclaimed my sacred right to create. I chose clarity over confusion. I chose creation over chaos. That's part of my affirmations every morning. Okay. Come on now. Blue Isis says, what's the app you're using to record your affirmations? That's such a good idea to have it playing while I'm getting ready. So I've done it a lot of different ways. It used to sit in Asana, which is what I use for like my tasks in general. And I used to just let Google browser read it to me. So you select the text, you right click and you go to speech, and I would let Google read it to me. Nowadays, because I wanted to start doing it while I was stretching, I have it in the Speechify app. I'll put it in the comments. It's Speechify. I think that's how you spell it. Let me see. And then I'll get back to this. It's called Speechify, which is an app that I have on my phone. That's not spelled right, Rashni. All right, I'm gonna put in the comments. Speechify. It's an app I have on my phone that will read. You can take pictures of things and it'll read it aloud. So like articles, or you can suck articles in from the internet, PDFs. Take a picture of something and it'll read it aloud. I have it in Speechify as text, and I really like it because Speechify has a Black woman's voice. I think named Tasha. So who you think is reading my affirmations to me? Tasha, every morning. Speak to me, Tasha. Okay. Anyway, speak to me, Tasha. Another reason why you might keep restarting, replanning, Black woman, okay, is that you are, progress feels familiar. That's what I was talking, or unfamiliar. That's what I was saying to you earlier about the monotony of it. Progress feels unfamiliar to you. And when you progress, I know this was me. You start hitting up into all kinds of wild emotions that you have never felt. you start grieving things and fearing things, and you start realizing you don't like being perceived, and the visibility is too much, and you're afraid of your greatness, or you encounter a perceived weakness and you don't know what to do about it. And so moving forward and progressing is just bringing up all kinds of stuff. So instead of doing that and figuring out what to do to keep progressing, you choose to avoid discomfort, which is what I was telling y'all about before, okay? And pivot so that you can escape the feelings because you aren't capable, equipped yet to manage them. And you don't believe, you don't trust yourself to learn how. You talking about Tasha? Listen, Tasha be whispering sweet nothings in my ear. Now, granted, the words Tasha is saying are the words I put in Tasha's mouth, okay? The word Tasha is saying is the word I put in Tasha's mouth because I'm Tasha. Okay, we are Tasha, Natasha. Okay, and Tasha been whispering to me in the morning and helping me create this life. Talk to me, Black woman. Speak on it. I be in there. Hey, come on, Tasha. Every morning, the same thing. Now the thing is, I will tweak it like every few months, but like I start memorizing it, right? And I be in there talking back to Tasha like she ain't told me the same thing yesterday. Tasha believes in me. Okay. And y'all notice that I write my affirmations in past tense. It's based off of a technique called scripting to make your mind think it's already happened. Okay, so Tasha believes in me. Okay, another reason why you might be restarting, boo boo, is you're used to doing things for other people. You're used to doing things for other people, right? So your goals get pushed by the wayside. Black women are, well, who is it? Erica De Niro TV, whose content I still have never actually consumed, but I quote this woman all the time. Someone said that Erica said Black women are trained to be the maid, the mule, or the mattress. You see my face? I hate it for us, but listen, she don't sound wrong, okay? And so when you are trained to be the mule, which is the pack mule that everybody puts everything on their back. You see my face? Okay. Then you might adopt that training yourself and make it a value proposition for yourself. So now when you are trying to create a life that you love, a life that centers you, a life filled with what you want, you feel like something's wrong because you're so used to being sacrificial for other people and being the mule, the maid, or the mattress for other people. And you've literally been trained to see yourself that way and to see it as a good thing. Then you become a chronic overfunctioner and your goals become fragmented and disappear into a whisper in the background. And honestly, a lot of us Black women are trained that that's what's supposed to happen. Like, am I the only person who realizes when you think with your thinking thinker that there was a point in her life, your life, my life, where I actually thought that that's what I was supposed to do. Like, I'm supposed to like subjugate myself to all these other people in the roles that I play in their life. And that's like a good thing. And there's all this messaging coming from places telling me that. So, I mean, if you feel that way, you got it honest. Like, don't beat yourself up. Okay. Not feeling that way is courage and victory in these systems, right? Having your brain be like, wait a minute, what the hell? What the hell, Leonte? I can't stop saying that TikTok sound. What the hell, Barry? What the hell, Burton? Okay. Another reason why you might keep restarting, replanning, doing another one, tweaking it, is you don't ask for help. You don't ask for help. So whenever something gets hard, whenever something gets boring, whenever something you perceive as a failure, you just, because it's a performance, remember, it's not real. You don't want, you're scared to be perceived as failing. So you just silently close the book and start over instead. Because remember, restarting and replanning is socially acceptable in that construct. Failing is not. I'm not saying you did fail. I'm saying if you're a person that doesn't ask for help, Failure is going to be something that you keep encountering because you don't know everything. None of us know everything. You have to learn things from other people. If you're a human being here on the planet and you are not in the wilderness naked fending for yourself since you were a baby, you have learned things from other people. The clothes you're wearing is from somebody else. Even if you made it, you learned how to sew from the information from somebody else, using the thread somebody else made and the sewing machine somebody else created. Okay. And if the knowledge that you have, even if you call yourself self-taught, you self-taught yourself from the knowledge that was collected from a different human being before you. Okay. So if you are under the guise that you can't ask for help on this planet, which is not a healthy guys that's going to get you where you want. You could restart because you are afraid of being perceived as a failure, and you believe that being perceived as a planner and a initiator is more positive socially than what you think is failure. When what you're actually encountering, spoiler, is reasonable humanity on the journey. Because nothing is perfect, and neither are you. Everything in your life has been done with the assistance of another human. Like I said, unless you are Wolf Girl out in the bushes right now. If that's the case, what are you watching me on? Because I know you didn't make the phone or the tablet that you're on. I don't know what's happening. Okay. Yes, Celeste. Celeste and I were talking about this in the call yesterday, the coaching call, how we be sneaking in on these podcasts, and there's like good information. They're telling you how to mount up on a system and ride everybody into the oblivion, right? But at this, like, they're very skilled in telling you how to mount up on top of other people and get yours, right? And you could sit there and be like, these people have the blueprint to this janky system. And some of the stuff they're saying is great. Also, interwoven in there is a bunch of ridiculousness because those people did not do that on their own. Like I said, unless they are wolf people out in the bushes, they are literally wearing clothes from other people, knowledge they got from other people, microphones given to them from other. Like it's just, girl. They never speak. It's always, I did it myself. How? You're going to tell me that your mother squatted, dropped you off in the middle of the bushes, and you built all of that from scratch with no human intervention? Wow. That's wild, sir. She just cop a squat, popped you out. And from that moment, with no adult to help you at all, placenta still attached, somehow you got yourself to sitting in this studio with a podcast mic. That's amazing. Wow. I am so amazed. Okay. The other reason why you might be restarting and replanning all the time, beautiful Black woman, is unfortunately, people have given you struggle as a value proposition and as a virtue, and you have internalized that messaging, and now you are whooping yourself with it. Right? So anything that feels like ease, anything that feels like peace, anything that feels like grace, anything that feels like rest, anything that feels like play, anything that feels like you are being centered in your own life, you feel like it's unearned, it's not good, it needs to be ended, it's not real, and you need to get back on the grind. Okay, you need to get back on the hustle. You need to get what? Oh my goodness. Y'all, I got wild people in my comments. Wild. Right? So the messaging that you have gotten, you've internalized it. And now your value is coming from grinding and hustling and striving and struggling. I told y'all the way I have extricated myself up out of the struggle message. Okay. I was steeped in that. And I have been actively unlearning, actively teaching myself that I deserve peace and I can recognize it, have it, intentionally go after it, create it, and rest in it when I find it right now. Not in the future, not as an aspiration, right now. That's a lesson and a journey that I'm on. Okay. But you might keep restarting because, like I said, somebody has told you and you believe that struggle and all of that stuff is a virtue. Another reason why you might keep restarting is you crave, I said this before, but I'm reading my little list here. So you're addicted to the energy of starting a thing, right? What I wrote down is you crave the adrenaline rush and the momentum and the possibilities of the start. You'd like to start, but you don't like to sustain, right? We are all very familiar with this concept with people who are like relationship hoppers and they love that like big, beautiful, love bomby start where all the hormones are woo, woo, right? Well, the same thing is happening when you are starting a plan for where you want to live, or a plan for how you're going to make your money, or a plan for your business, or a plan for your family, or a plan for your home, or a plan for your environment, or a plan for your outfits, a plan for your hair, a plan for your dental work, a plan for your beauty regimen. I don't care. A plan for your sleep, a plan for your work, any restarting plan that you keep doing, a plan to write your book, right? A plan to whatever. That beginner feeling where you're like researching and looking and you're telling everybody about it. People are like, ooh, that sounds amazing. Oh my God. It's very much like the beginning of a relationship, right? It's very much like the beginning of a relationship. And you might be addicted. We talked about this earlier, to the biochemical responses in your body of momentum and possibility and starting. And when that stops, it feels like you crash off an edge, and that addiction to the beginning energy is why you keep kicking in and you never get that slow simmer. Everything in your life is a microwave. Nothing is a crock pot. And have you had crock pot food? Let me tell you what, I can make some killer chicken. Okay. My son's great grandmother taught me how to make her baked chicken. And when I tell you, you got to bake that thing low and slow. Okay. It don't take forever, but it takes long in that oven. And when I tell you it's falling off the bone, have you had crock pot stuff? Not the high, the rushed version, the 8-hour crock pot, the low on the low. It's not the same. You can have the same food in the microwave, and I'm not saying the food in the microwave is nourishing, but sometimes the low and slow is where the depth is. The seasoning gets to get up in there, okay? And you're addicted to the microwave version of the things. And so it is very unfamiliar for you to sustain. This was me too. I told you, my therapist was like, you can't start it. And I was like, whoa, sir, you don't know how to sustain. I look back on my life and I think about some of the things that I ejected from my life and replanned and restarted and thought were not good. Whereas looking back from the lens I have now, I realized that what they were peaceful. What they were peaceful. And I just didn't know that. Another reason why you might be replanning, restarting, Black woman, is you just like telling people that you're building something. It really provides you the external validation that you feel you need without the vulnerability of ever actually sharing the results of what you're doing. Because if you get past the planning stage, now you have to be vulnerable and tell people how you are doing, right? So like for me, Rashni, how's your coaching business going? Oh, Rashni, how's your social media stuff going? Well, social media is a little different because people can see the numbers. They can't. Now, here's the thing. People can't see what you're generating from the video. Like you could have a low view, low subscriber count video and be making mad bank in the back. That exists. But people can see the vanity metrics, right? Or Rushni, I don't know. How are you doing with whatever the book you said you were writing, the so-and-so you said you were starting, the exercise regimen, the body you said you wanted by summer. You know what I mean? You can keep telling people that you're building it, you're starting it, I'm going to do it, and telling them about the plan. And that feels more comfortable than actually reporting back the results for the people who ask you how it's going. So you keep restarting. Like every time you see them, you're just like, oh yeah, I was going to do that, but I decided that this might be a better fit for me. Like you even have a little talking point to tell people why. Okay, there's no results. Right? So you're attached to the idea of always working on the thing. Another reason why you might be restarting all the time, why you always like replanning, restarting, is reinventing things, constantly reinventing things feels powerful to you. It actually feels like you're using your brain in a way that you want to. And even though it feels powerful, it's masking your avoidance, right? It's masking your avoidance, right? Lately, I see a lot of people using the word pivot, 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 and pivot is a wonderful thing because it's telling you that you don't have to feel stuck. And I'm all about not feeling stuck. But now feeling stuck is the opposite. Feeling stuck is the opposite of the like you're romanticizing the concept of pivoting all the time. And once again, it's a socially acceptable way to tell people what you're doing. I'm pivoting, I'm pivoting, I'm pivoting. Well, what you're doing is you're masking your avoidance to sustain the work. Y'all like how it is just looking in the camera to make sure you hear. When I stop and look in the camera, I'm looking in the camera because when I watch these videos back, I need me to look at me because I'm talking to myself. Okay. Another reason why I'm almost done with this ridiculous list that I wrote, this long list. I said this one already. Replanning is socially acceptable. It's so much easier to explain to people why you have another plan going, why you're restarting. It's a lot easier to explain than to explain that you're a chronic overfunctioner or you have hyper independence or you don't trust yourself or I'm a perfectionist or I fear success, I fear failure. I don't want to. I want to avoid discomfort, right? Like who's going around saying I over-identify with achievement and hustle culture? Like it's easier to be like, I got a new plan because you can't identify the deeper thing under the hood. So it's socially acceptable, right? And then the other thing I wanted to say, and this one is super important. I think a lot of times we skip over this because we do get socialized to be in the space of being a doer. One of the reasons, you guys, that you might be restarting constantly and you might keep replanning is, you ready for this? This is going to be revolutionary. You don't want to do it. Sis, you don't want it. The reason why you keep restart, you don't want to do that. It's not a trauma response. It's not a pathology. Nothing's wrong with you. It's not symptomatic of anything. You're just not being honest with yourself about what you desire, what you want and what you don't want. You think you want it, but you don't. You thought you wanted it, but you don't anymore. Other people told you you want it, but you don't want it and you perform it. And so you keep replanning and restarting to perform that it's happening when really deep down you don't want it. And that's okay. All right. And that's okay. Sometimes we are collecting more tools as a trauma response. It's a way of avoiding the discomfort of the unfamiliar feelings of one, being honest about our wants and desires, or two, the unfamiliar feelings of actually executing on a plan. Yeah. So now that we have put the awareness out into the open, the awareness is out. Okay. The top has been ripped off and we are right there looking at it. Okay. We are right. Listen, you better speak on it. She said, you're right. I want the results. I honestly don't want to do the work. I prefer a nap. We have been told to want all kinds of stuff. We have been told to want things that you could easily sit down and be like, have I been told to amass all of these things in a system? Or do I actually want to do that? I used to joke around like, do you want to have 47 degrees and start a nonprofit? Or do you want to go be a goat farmer? Because like in the world that we're living in right now, even though it feels like it's all going to hell in a handbasket, there's more possibility for us than there ever has been. And if you want to go be a goat farmer, girl, this is your time to go do it. 2025. This is the time of humanity where it is much more likely for you, a Black woman watching, this, to stop everything and create a life where she's a goat farmer. It can happen. Okay. So now let's talk about real quick why something new doesn't mean that it's better. Just because you do something new doesn't mean that it's better. right? It doesn't mean that it's better. The more options that you gather, the more confused you get and the harder it becomes. You're making it too complex by gathering options. Then you become stuck in a loop of trying to categorize and whatever, all the planning and options and all of the things that could possibly get you to the thing that you want to. And you're practicing and you're acting and you're iterating, right? You're iterating. And it's not because you don't want to have clarity, but it's because you are afraid of choosing. So you are putting too many options in the mix and not choosing any of them. And that can lead to decision fatigue. That can lead to, listen, plan for, I don't know, strategy fatigue. Okay. It's new does not mean better. I wrote down here, you keep searching for the right way because you don't trust yourself. This unlocked it for me, right? Low self-trust comes from a past, often, like I said to you guys before, a past where you were heavily critiqued. I was heavily critiqued, a past where your voice was dismissed. I did a whole video about finding your voice as a Black woman. Okay, a past where you were taught to ignore your intuition for whatever reasons, okay? And your efforts didn't lead to results, benefits for you, or even safety. And I personally, the benefits for me, my efforts were not attached to the results growing up. It took me so much therapy to get to that. The praise for what I did, and I did a lot, you guys. By 19, I had met Mandela. Okay, that's the life I was living. I did so many things. I was on papers and magazines and meeting famous people. I was doing so many things. And none of those things were celebrated to me. The praise was taken by other people. And as a child, that totally detached something in my mind, and it totally disintegrated my ability to trust myself to make a decision that comes to a positive end, right? For you, it might be like attach my actions to the outcomes. It broke it entirely. And you know how much therapy it took for me to be able to figure out what was going on? For you, it might be a detachment of like, I do this and safety is not a thing. So what's the point? Your efforts don't lead to anything, right? So you keep trying to figure out the right way to do it so you feel safe, or the right way to do it so you feel seen, or the right way to do it so that you feel right. So that you get an outcome that you want, or it feels valuable, or you feel praised, lauded, whatever, right? So you hesitate. You second guess. I know I was doing it, right? You default to somebody else's ideas because that's literally what you were taught. You were taught not to listen to self. Don't trust you. Your intuition is wrong. That's wrong. That thought you have is wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. And so you lean on other people, hoping that their knowledge and their confidence will compensate you for the fear that you have, that you don't trust yourself. But unfortunately, I'm here to tell you, and this is nuance. So I hope I can get this out, because I don't want this to lead back to individualism. Learning how to trust yourself is not a call for you to become individual. That's not the call. Okay. There's nuance, but there's literally no outside strategy, no amount of outside strategy from another person that's going to replace a deep, solid core of inner self-trust Black woman. You cannot build your life from a core of another person's instructions. The other people who help, the other community support that come alongside you, the other people that help you and hold you and even advise you and give you all this good information are additions. They're leaves on the tree. They're not the roots. You anchor in a self-concept. And this was what I was missing. You have to anchor yourself in a self-concept. You have to trust yourself to discern and parse through what other people are telling you, because you're going to be blown, like the Bible says, by every wind of doctrine. Everybody going to have an opinion. What did they say? Opinions are like assholes. Everybody got one? Or is it belly buttons? Listen, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. Ultimately, you have to be able to tell everybody what your decision is. And if you don't trust yourself, the life you create will not be your own. Because if 17 people give you 17 different things to think about, how you gonna know which one you want? Maybe you don't even want any of those. You could have 17 people give you 17 ways you're supposed to live your life, 17 right ways to do it, and you pick 18 and you're a goat farmer. And that's okay. That's perfectly okay, right? Besides, perfectionism doesn't keep you safe. Perfectionism keeps you from being perceived as failing and perceived as successful. Real talk. Okay, that's what it's keeping you from. It's not about having high standards. Perfectionism is about fear. Perfectionism is fancy procrastination. Um, if you keep walking around letting fear be the center of your decision making, right? Then you're going to create the very life you're trying to avoid, which is a life centered on your worst belief. Like you're going to confirm for yourself your worst belief, which is you didn't do it. Right? I'm trying to get this thought out my brain. Perfectionism is keeping you safe in the sense of perceived failure and perceived fear. Okay? Everything in life has a little tinge of fear to it. If you're trying to walk around, avoid the feeling of fear, you're avoiding life. I think I said to a coaching client recently who was going through a challenging situation and season in her life, and she was talking about courage and bravery. And I told her, I was like, well, then fear is a prerequisite because you can't have courage and bravery without something to be courageous about and brave over. Like you got to have a overcome, right? And I'm not saying to create a life filled with fear, but I'm saying anticipating that fear is a reasonable part of creating something when you are moving through life, reframes it, and also brings you off of the ledge of the fear you have of failing or being successful. Because failure and success are scary AF. They're so scary. They're horrifying sometimes, especially when you are not socialized for either. You are socialized to be a tool and a role in a system to use you. So you're learning things right now that are new to your body, your mind, and your spirit. Okay? Success asks you to expand yourself. Expand yourself, right? I'm trying to get this thought out. Success requires that you get to be seen and centered in your own life. That has to be scary. That is a scary thing. When you aren't used to centering yourself, you're used to centering everyone else and being used in a system, being a role in other people's lives, a coworker, an employee, a deacon, a mother, a sister, right? Now you want to be you in your life. You want to be the roots and the trunk of the tree and let the branches and the leaves and all other stuff, come in as accoutrement, basically. Okay. But not the center of your life. That's horrifying. Success will expect you will have to hold more. And to hold more, there has to be a stronger note, I'll say, in your life of self-trust. That's what I have been walking out. Trusting myself to be the person aligned with the divine. Because it's not me by myself. Okay. I know somebody can come out here and be like, what about God? God is within me. He will not fail. He will help me at the break of day. He is within me. Okay. God is within me. The divine is within me. So the trust that I'm putting is on the God within me. That's what I mean. Okay. In case I have to spell that out. Okay. Trust yourself. There's a voice, a still small voice, an intuition that's telling you this or that. And if there's trauma clouding it, you can get the help you need to turn down the volume on the trauma and turn up the volume on the self, the intuition, the divine within. Okay. Because the more you start to trust yourself, the more you're going to realize that you are supported, you are held. You are held. And you can still do a thing afraid. You don't have to keep restarting and performing. You can do it. You can stop, ask for what you need in that moment, procure what you need either from the inside of self or from other people who can help you, and then keep it pushing. and execute on the plan. Self-trust is a practice that I have been learning. It is not a personal trait that you come out with. Matter of fact, Black women, a lot of us have been trained not to trust ourselves. Okay. Self-trust can be rebuilt. I'm telling you this from what I know in my own lived experience. Self-trust can be rebuilt from small, aligned choices, right? Small choices where you witness yourself doing what you said you were going to do, following through on your actions. And over time, you reprogram yourself to not perform a thing, but to be a thing. To be a thing. I used to tell you guys all the time that discipline is keeping promises that you make to yourself. Self-trust is built through discipline, not the figurative concept of discipline, the small incremental choices you make over time to follow through on what you said you were going to do. It's the foundation of an anchored self-concept, and it's part of what you need. It's the main thing you need so that you're not always looking for the new thing and thinking it's the better thing. Okay? So this is what I wanted to say about how to move forward instead of restarting and replanning. And honestly, I'm gonna hit y'all with the okie doke because the answers, the solutions to everything is in the title of the video and on the thumbnail. The things I want you to stop doing is stop replanning, stop restarting, and follow through on what you already know. It's the name of the video. Surprise. Okay. It's a full circle moment. Stop replanning. Stick to a plan. Maybe simplify the plan. Maybe you're doing too much. Maybe when you stick to the plan and you look at the plan, you realize this is too much plan. I got 10 years worth of life written down here to get done in a month. That's unrealistic. So maybe I need to do one of these a year. And then at the end of the 10th year, I have them, right? It's better for you to actually do it than to perform it. I would hate for you to get to the end of year 10 and nothing has been done. But if you have to wait, and what do they say? Delay gratification. Maybe you're not going to be an author on year 1. Maybe you're going to get your health together on year 1. But maybe year 3 is the year that you're writing a book. You see what I'm saying? You have to learn how to delay gratification and stop replanning. Stop replanning. This was something I had to learn, okay? Tweaking the plan and tweaking the plan and tweaking the plan. I'm going to tell y'all what has been really powerful for me. I will give myself moratoriums on new plans and only execute what I've already said I was going to do. I'll say this week I will do nothing new. And when somebody like me tells myself that this week I will only execute the plan I said I was going to, it is amazing how I notice that new things keep flying. I mean, they're coming out. Maybe you should do this. What did you do this? You should change this. I know you said that. And I'll be like, interesting. It gives me an opportunity to observe how much I am avoiding by constantly tweaking the plan. When I tell myself for X amount of time, for today, for this week, for the next month, I will not say yes to anything else. I will not say no to anything else. I will do exactly what I have already strategized. The strategy I put in place, I will execute it. The other thing that I start noticing when I do that is how much progress there is. Do you know how much progress there is when you say, I'm going to go walking every other day and you go walking every other day? Or you say, I'm going to drink water every day and you drink the water every day and you start noticing. You get to see the results. And that becomes part of the self-trust because you're like, oh, okay. So a moratorium, or like, what do you call that? Like don't replan. Stick to a plan for X amount of time that you've already done. Execute it and see what happens. Okay. The next thing is to just stop restarting. That's easy enough. Same thing. Stop restarting. Keep going. Keep going. Several years ago, I did one of my solo self-care staycations and I read The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And when I came out of that particular hotel stay, I remember realizing that one of my upper limit problems from that book was that I don't show up. Right? So I make the plan. I say I'm going to do a thing. I get out the gate really good. And then 3, 4, steps into the race, I stop. I give myself some reason I'm gonna stop. It's all self-sabotage. It's self-sabotage. It's self-sabotage. And then I start over. Okay. This whole video is me telling on myself from years ago. Okay. So I decided that I was just gonna keep showing up. I was gonna stop restarting. I was going to keep showing up. And there are often times, you guys, where I am doing something on a rhythm and on a schedule just because I want to keep the promise I made to myself. I have gotten on videos and told you guys, I am here so I don't get fined. Okay. Your girl don't feel like it. Your girl don't want to do it. Your girl brain ain't even working. I mean, right now, I haven't even told you guys this. I've been sitting here with a headache the entire time. But guess what? I said I was going to go live at 7 on Wednesday, and I'm here live at 7. I wanted to see what happened when I stopped hitting this upper limit that I had imposed on myself as a self-sabotaging behavior, and I showed up no matter what I said. It didn't mean that I don't rest. Clearly, you have a son with special needs, so you guys see me doing that, right? But oftentimes, when you are trained to keep stopping and then all the talking points on how to explain to people why you stopped and you get to like recenter your victim story, come on now. You have to train yourself that sometimes showing up is all it takes. Showing up is all it takes for what you want to happen in your life to happen. Show up. That's why in my I've Created a Monster podcast, the end of the podcast, I end the podcast by saying, show up, speak up, F something up, and create your own monster. That show up is what, I mean, even with that podcast, I got tired of doing that, but actually now it's getting a little momentum, right? And then the last thing that you need to do to move forward when you keep restarting and keep replanning is in the title of the video. Follow through on what you already know. You're probably a Black woman watching this. If you're not a Black woman, you're a West Indian woman of some culture. You are over-indexed on information. I promise you, you have more than you need to execute on a plan and see what happens. See what happens. Oh, the other thing that keeps happening when I give myself the moratorium and don't keep replanning and restarting planning is I get to see what happens when I iterate. When you keep restarting, you never get to see what happens when you iterate. When you just stick to the thing, you guys, when you just stick to a thing, it's amazing what you learn. You get to see what happens when you iterate on a thing. And let me tell you what, when you iterate, that's where the magic is. That's what's supposed to be happening. You're supposed to do it, fail a little, iterate, fail a little, tweak on the way, do it and go, do it and go, right? So the way that you move forward, if you are a chronic, persistent restarter, replanner, is to follow through on what you already know. Take what you already know, okay? Take what you already know and do one brave action, whether it's perfect or not. Do it no matter what. Give yourself a time frame and go. Act. Matter of fact, don't tell a bunch of people that you're doing it. Tell 1 or 2 core people so that you can be held accountable, but go. Less talking about what you're doing, more doing it. If you find that at the end of the day, you've told 13 people about the book you're writing, but you ain't written one word on a piece of paper, tomorrow I want you to do like Jerry Seinfeld used to do. Go in the library, lock yourself in a room with nothing in it, and write for a few hours. Words on paper. Feet on treadmill. Yeah? Art on art medium. Okay? Calls made. Like, do action. Okay? Action. Yeah? Oh, this is perfect. Listen. Celeste is out here doing the work for me. Okay? Celeste says that's what the planning retreat calls are for me. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Celeste, because guess what? The planning retreat is happening again. Let me tell y'all what had happened. Okay? I do a virtual planning retreat every year based off of the planning retreat I do for myself. Yes. In 2020, when the pandemic popped off, I was like, hey, anybody want to come do it with me? Because before that, one of my coaching clients was like, I would do that with you. And I was like, why would you do that? We had the pandemic. Women did it. I had about 50 women do it, yada, yada. Okay. Since then, I've restarted my coaching membership as a group membership for Black women, and I do the planning retreat. I would run it in December and January. And I think last year I tried to run it maybe February and June. And February and June did not have a good turnout. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that again this year. So I wasn't having any plan to do it. I ran it in December and January. Celeste did one of those, right? Celeste did one of those. And everybody that does the virtual planning retreat now gets the included accountability calls, right? So the women who did December and January, they get to be on the accountability calls monthly from January to October. That's how I run it. That feels good in my spirit. That feels aligned. That's what I'm going to do. I had like 2-3 people ping me and was like, when is the June retreat? And I was like, ain't no June retreat. Ain't no June retreat, boo-boo. And they were like, but I was counting on that because, you know, I didn't want to do it in January because in January my money's funny. And I was like, okay. So at the very last minute, I was getting there. At the very last minute, I decided to go ahead and run back the planning retreat for June. Okay. So I'm calling it Reset Your Year. It's usually called Create Your Year because we do it at the end of the year and the beginning of the year. But in June, it's going to be called Reset Your 2025 Virtual Planning Retreat. Amen. Amen. Okay. And what it is a week of self-paced course modules that you get access to starting on June 6th. And it's a week-long self-paced planning retreat from June 6th, to June 13th. So you do those planning retreat modules and it helps you create a plan for the thing. So listen, if you already have a plan, I don't need you to come do this as much as I want you to come do it because the accountability calls are a good time. Okay. And Celeste herself. All right. So look at Celeste. Celeste is out here manifesting an amazing life. Okay. She's a good time on these calls. All right. These women, we are in spring and the women are doing it. And I love it. Okay. I'm doing it too. So you see, so she coming so she don't get fined by me. So she don't get hemmed up on the call. Okay. But if you already have a plan, I'm not telling you to come do this. Right? Work the plan that you already have, boo-boo. If you don't have a plan and you need help, remember I told you I can't be the roots on your tree, but I can help you. Okay. I can help you because ever since I started doing this myself, my life started to change and I'm seeing myself changing the lives of other women. Okay. So the reset retreat is that. And what else? I hold 4 live group Zoom calls during the week. They are just Q&A calls. Okay. The meat of the information is in the retreat, but it's a lot of information. Although I'm tweaking it a little bit in June to see how I feel about whatever. That's me back here. But you also have, that's what I want to say. You also have access to the information until the end of November. So if you don't get to it in the week from June 6th, you have access all the way through the end of November. And anybody that does the reset retreat will get the ability to join us, me, Celeste, and the other ladies on the July, August, September, and October calls. July, August, September, and October calls. So if you want to join Reset Your 2025 Virtual Planning Retreat, do not come in here if you already have a plan. Okay? I'm not going to lie, you guys. I only have 1 woman signed up so far, even though I had like 3 different people ask me, but maybe people are just waiting. Okay? The price goes up tomorrow. No, the price goes up Friday. Price goes up on Friday. So get in there now if you want it right now. And honestly, if it's only 1 woman on those calls, then listen, she just got one-on-one coaching with me. Okay. But don't let that be you. And then if you join, you get to join the monthly accountability calls, July, August, September, and October. So basically if 2025 got you all the way effed up, fight back. Okay. Fight back. But listen, if you're an over planner, don't come in here over planning. Okay. Do what you already have. Do what you have. What are you saying, Celeste? Celeste says that she likes that I make them follow through on what they said they were going to do and don't let us stray off into starting a bunch of new stuff. Exactly. Exactly. Because one of the things is you just tell me who you want to create and then I just be checking to see whether you create and she. And if you come at me with something else, you got to tell me why you veering off into the oblivion. What happened to the you told me you wanted to be when you started this thing? Where's she at? Anyway, so you can join bit.ly/virtual planning retreat. The link should be in the information box. If not, I will go back and I will put it there. And don't forget, you guys. Okay. 1, if you're an over planner and you already have a plan, this is for people who don't have a plan. This is for people who need accountability, right? Both are powerful parts of it. If you don't have a plan, or if you have a plan and you need accountability, you see to come in there and hit us with these 4 calls and knock it out. Come join us, bit.ly/virtual planning retreat. Okay. You don't need to earn your readiness though. You don't need to earn your value. You don't need to make things more perfect. And you don't need everything to look like you're doing work. You actually need to create a life that is lived in. That's what I want to say. It's not about performing a thing, making sure everybody thinks you're this, that, and the other, while your voices in your head are like, oh my God, I'm going to be found out. I'm going to be found out. No, you don't have to be found out if you live authentically and embody your actual real life, which is what I'm all about. Creating an actual real life that you love and where you are centered. Okay? You are enough. That's what I want to say. Stop restarting, stop replanning, follow through on what you already know. Happy Wednesday, ladies. Will I be back here on Friday? Probably. Okay. Be well, you guys. Be encouraged. Here's a pineapple. I might do this again. Wednesday was a good time. Wednesday night. Wait a minute. All right. Bye, y'all.